Well, welcome to sunny Scotland. Here we are, 6 days from Christmas, and a man out walking his dog. Don't get that very often in Scotland at this time of the year. As you can see, a beautiful cobalt blue sky. I'm just sitting in my studio just now. I'm just going to get ready to do a painting, so I just thought I'd let you have a look at the weather. Well, here we are, 6 days to Christmas, and I've still got quite a lot planned for the channel, and I'm wanting to get a few videos produced. I'm just having a look back here. I'm putting some of them on the table here so you can have a look. Some of the scenes that we've painted, and most of you seem to be really enjoying them. But before I go any further, I would just like to say a big thank you to all the people who have been watching my channel, especially the 1,500 people who have subscribed. I'm really very pleased. I'm fairly new at this YouTube game, and I put 2 videos up about 4 years ago, I think, and that was about it. But when we had the lockdown, I decided to put some new ones up, and it's really been quite impressed by the number of people who decided to watch. I really have to say a big thank you, especially to the people in USA, America. I've noticed now that 50% of my subscribers are from America, so a big thanks. I'm just looking again, as I say, this particular scene here, the snow scene, seemed to be very popular, as was this one. It's that time of the year. Snow scenes are really enjoyable to paint, and I finally finished off just a few days ago with this one. So I've got some big plans for January already. I've got 2 that I plan to do. One I'm sure you'll enjoy. It's an English cottage, and I want to use the pen, the permanent pen. I've got a Norwegian scene that I'm sure you'll enjoy, and lastly, a big surprise. You're going to be producing your own painting book. So that's enough said about that, so let's get started with today's scene. Well, the sun's still shining here in Scotland, but today we're going to do another snow scene. But I'm going to move towards, as I mentioned, half my subscribers now are from America, so I'm going to produce a snow scene with an American twist on it. Now, I've got a scene that I'm going to do. It's got a couple of barns out in the country with the snow coming down quite heavily. But one thing I've noticed, here's a painting I did when we were up in the Norway area, the fjords, and here's another real original painting in front of me here that I did, and I noticed that the barns in America have got a very similar colour to this browny red in Norway and Sweden. This lovely colour here. It's quite difficult to try and get that colour. I remember I had to mix up a light red colour with a bit of cadmium red, so that'll be a bit of a challenge, because I noticed as I said, the barns in America seem to be that nice reddish brown colour. Right, so I'm going to kick off with a sketch. I'm going to put the snow line in here. This piece of paper is about 10.5 inches long by 7.5 inches. It's quite small, so hopefully it won't take too long to get it done. Right, so I've got one barren round on the left hand side starting about here, and I'm just going to draw that in. Coming down about so, the roof. There we are. Now I'm going to have another one just about here, slightly bigger one, longer one. Take it along a bit. Now I notice a lot of there's a strange shape on the barrens. They seem to go up and then a different angle they go up the next bit, which is quite unique on its own. So that'll come down like so, and this goes up as well and joins in. So there we are. Now there's loads of trees round about here. There's a big tree fairly close, and then there's a lot of trees in the distance. So I'm really just giving myself an idea where these are going to be, not too much detail. And then there's a super tall individual tree just coming up here. This will be good. I want to show you how to paint a winter tree, not the evergreen type, just tree without any leaves. Right, that'll do. That's the sketch done. So let's get the paints. So I'm going to start off with the sky, and I'm going to make a big watery loose value colour of grey, and I'm starting off with some cobalt blue, as you can see, and I'm going to add some down in the corner here, if you can see it, some light red. Yeah, that's far too strong, but it's getting there. Now, I'll tell you something that I've just noticed here, which might be a benefit to me. I had some white gouache before in this corner, and it's not all away. But that might be okay. I'm going to try it now, so I'm going to swing round and see if I can paint this sky, and I'm just going to put some more water in. I want it a low value colour, about a 2. So here we go, let's try. Just going to cover it all in. It's not too bad actually. So, might be worth trying that, but the two colours you should be using cobalt blue and a little touch of the light red. So I'm just going to take this round about this barren as well, and take it right down to the snow area. That'll be fine. Right, that's quite nice. I like that colour. So that's one of these happy mistakes. You get a lot of unlucky or not so happy mistakes in watercolour painting, but that's turned out quite nicely. If you do have any white gouache or gouache, you could try and add a little bit of white, see how you get on. What I want to do now is mix up a grey with the same colours, blue and a bit of the light red, and I'm going to use that to paint in the distant trees while the paper is still wet. So let's see how we get on. So swing round again. Just to let you see the colour there, that was cobalt blue and a bit of that light red. That's about a 5 tonal value. Right, so let's see if we can paint some of these trees in. So I'm going to start here. So this is good now because this is soft, still wet, so I'm going to get soft edges. So that's not too bad at all. Just going to soften it off a bit, it's just a little bit dark in bits. So there's a... Don't worry if you don't get it exactly on the lines that you drew. That's just as a guide. So I'm going to paint one or two more up here. That's a bit dark, that bit, that's better. Right. Some more paint, some taller one. So you can see the lovely edge you get. And I think there's just another one over here. And I'm going to put one in there. That'll do. Just fill in this little bit here. Right. I'll put one here. Finish it off. Right. So okay. Right, that's the tree. I've just mixed up a slightly darker tonal value for this grey, and I want to just add it to the one or two of the trees in the slightly further forward, and it pushes the other ones back, but it's still soft enough yet to give it that nice soft edges. So yeah, that's not too bad. I'm just going to maybe leave these ones. I don't want to put too much in. Keep them in the distance. These ones. Yeah, that'll do. Right, that's not too bad. I've added some, I'm just going to swing round and let you see how I've used up the colours here. I've added a bit of Windsor blue or Prussian blue colour and a bit of brown, and I've got a darker greyish green colour here. And I'm going to use that around about here, just to make this one. Just going to show you, make sure you can see that. This tree is closer because it's a bit of that greenish colour, green blue, and just want to do most of it in that colour. Get a bigger brush, that's a bit small. I want to cover it in as quick as I can. This one, give it a different shape. I'll just take it down the side a bit and leave it. Right, there's a bit there I'm just going to dab out. That'll do. Right. Okay, there we are. Right, going to tackle the barns now, and here's this reddish brown colour that seems to be popular in the States, so how do we get that then? Right, I'm going to try that light red colour. Now there's two colours I need here because the light looks as if it's coming from this side. So that'll be lighter, that'll be lighter, that'll be darker, that'll be darker. So I'm going to keep that colour. I'm going to add a bit of red. This is bright red, cadmium red, and it gives it that darker colour. Sorry, brighter colour. It's a strange red, very similar to what they've got in Norway. And sorry, I need to get a darker version of that now, so I'm going to stick with this light red colour. I'm going to add a bit of ultramarine blue. It's not too bad. A bit of red. Right, here we go. That's quite deep, but dark enough for a contrast. So, just going to pause for a minute. The reason I'm doing that is the battery's gone on my camera, so won't be long. Okay, back again, camera charged. So here we go. I'm going to start with the left hand sides. So this is the brighter red colour. Right, so let's get that in just now. Lovely bright colour that, yeah. Right, so I'm going to do the bigger tree in the bigger side now. Sorry, the bigger barren side. Right. Just going to leave some bits for. Yeah, that should be okay. Just going to cover that up. Some of the windows are black, so that'll be okay. That'll suit us better. There's a door, 2 doors I think I'll put in. Yeah. And I'll leave a bit for one window, a bit lighter at the end. Right. So that's that done. That looks okay. Now I'm going to tackle the ends of the barn, and remember I mixed up that big dark red colour. I'm going to mix up some more that's kind of dried a bit. And it was the light red colour, very strong with some ultramarine. Here we go. So I'll tackle this one first on the left. Wow, that's too dark. Back to I'm just going to swing around, let you see what I'm doing here. I want to get more red, light red in. That was far too dark. Right, here we go, try again. Just going to dab that out a bit if I can. Right, let's get started. It's a bit better. I'm going to change this slightly now. This is good for you to watch this. That's too thick. The paint is too thick. I'm going to just add some water and soften it a bit. There we are, that's better. I'm going to just go over that. Yeah, that was. It's a good colour, but it's too thick, strong paint, which will dry very dark, just too dark. So that was quite a good little bit for you to watch there, actually. Tonal values is a key area when you're painting, and it's something you just pick up. It's very difficult. It's not a watercolour painting is a long apprenticeship. It's not a 5-minute exercise. You just have to take your time and try and learn as you go along. I'm still learning. I've been painting for about 30 years. Right, so that's that one. Okay, so I'm going to swing the camera around a bit and we're going to tackle this one here. This one is zoom out a touch. Now, there was a fence in the front of this barn that I didn't put in the initial sketch, and I've put it in here as you see, and I think that'll be quite good. Now you have the option just to miss that out completely, or you can put it in. I would suggest you put it in, and now there's two things you can do here. The snow will be sitting on the top of the fence, so we have to include the snow. So how do you do that? Well, there's, let me see, 1, 2 or 3 ways you can do that. You can put what we call masking fluid. You can paint that along there, and when you go over it with the paint, the masking fluid will protect it, then you can rub it off and you've got the white left. It's quite a good idea. It's a bit, I used to use a lot of that, but it's a bit messy, and it takes so long to dry. So another option is you can just paint round about this, and that's quite needs a bit of attention. Or the last one is you can paint over the whole end of the barn and get in some white gouache or gouache. I'm going to go for the one where I carefully just paint my way around here, leaving the white. So I'll leave it up to you, see what you think. Right, here we go again. We've got this same problem. I need to get a dark reddish colour, but not too dark. And that looks a bit too dark as well. Just going to add a little bit of water to it. And there we are. It's just changing it ever so slightly. Right. So I'm just going to try and work my way down here till I come to this fence, and then I'm going to have to change. So the fence will start about here, This would be the top of the fence, so I'm just going to take that right along. Right. So there we go. So here we go, the tricky part. I'm going to have to be careful here. Just want to take that down. So here's this tricky little bit I'm going to show you about now. So just make sure we can get right. So I have to carefully pick the areas where the fence is. There's a fence post there, so I'm just going to take that along. I'm going to make another fence post. One here. So we'll have to go down again to the next one. Fence, take it along. And take that to there. And room hopefully for another one. And one about there. Right, so I should now be able to put in the actual fence post itself. So I can put that down there now. A fence post here, and we'll have one here, and one at the end. I'm going to take that along there, and there as well. Right, so there we go. So that's one way of tackling it. As you can see, fairly straightforward. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint a long, tall, thin tree here. Not the conifer evergreen type. This one's lost all its leaves. So it's just tall, thin with thin branches, and I'm using a rigger, and I want to get a dark brown colour. So I'm going to use some of this mix here. I'm going to put some brown and a bit of blue, Windsor blue, and you get a nice dark brown colour. Right, now this is done properly. This is a super tree. So again, you might want to draw it in. I'm just going to zoom in a bit to let you see what I mean by that, just to give you something to follow. Right, you might want to physically draw the main part of the trunk up, and up the top there, just the thin branches. Very faint that, but at least it gives you something to follow. So here we go with the dark. This is a super dark brown, and I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. So just want to make sure you can see that. Yep. So I'm going to start off with the trunk, just in here, and as we get further up it gets thinner. Now I'll tell you what I'm just going to do. I'm going to dab some of that out. It's just a bit too strong, that. And I'm going to carry on up here now. And this is really thin strokes. Right. Now, there's just a little bit that finishes it off, which is super. So I'm going to show you. You'll find that a lot of the trees like this tend to have the odd leaves still hanging about on the trees, a browny colour. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to swing round and let you see it in the palette here. Swing it a bit. Now I'm just going to use up some of this colour here. And I don't want it too thick or strong at all, because I'm just going to dab that gently on the area that I've painted in, and I'll show you what effect that has. It's getting a bit closer. Right. So I'm going to start at the top here, if you can see this, and I'm gently just going to ever so slightly put some marks on it, just to suggest one or two leafy bits, and that'll do. That's enough. There's a danger you could spoil that, so that'll do. Right. So we're at the finishing stages now. I just need to put some detail on the barns with the doors and the windows. So I'm just going to carry on with some light brown and grey colours. I'll just take that in a bit so you can see. Right, so I'm just going to fill the doors in there. I'm just going to make them all the same colour. I'll do this one. Just a bit of variation. Now I need a darker colour. I'm going for a browny grey colour for the windows. Got a strong dark. So I'm going to put one or two there. I'm going to put a bigger one up here. That'll do. I'm going to put a couple on either side of the doors here. And go across to the other one now. I'll put one here. And this one up here. I'm going to put one right up in the corner. Another one here, that'll do. Right, that'll do for the doors. Just let you see that. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some lines across to suggest the wood structure of these bands. So I'm getting it. Again, I'm just going to let you see what I'm doing here. I'm just using up some the brown that I had and the darker bluey colour, and I'm going to put in some bits just coming out here. here. Across to this side, and we'll put one or two coming out here. And that'll do. One or two little marks I'm just going to put in on the snow, just to suggest some mounds. Maybe another bit over there, and possibly one or two bits up here at the fence. We'll put some and I think that'll about do. Just get some water and soften that off. Right, that's about it. And there we are. Right, I've got some white gouache or gouache. There's the language barrier, Scottish or whatever. I call it gouache. A lot of people call it gouache, but it's thick white paint, and the tendency is in snow scenes you never stop. You want to just keep adding some little bits. So I'm going to put some little bits of white just on the ledge, the windows. I got a smaller brush, that's too thick. So I've got some white again, and I'm just going to put some bits on the windows. And a bit up there. I'm going to try one or two little bits on some of the branches. This is when it can get dangerous. You've got to just be so careful. But I put one or two bits through here. Yeah, this is not really adding much to the painting, so I'm going to stop. Might just put one or two little bits on that to soften it a bit. And I think that'll about do. There's a tendency to give it some splattering again, but I think we'll just leave this one. It looks quite nice. And what I'm going to do is just put my name in the corner. One or two people commented that I hadn't signed paintings, which is a valid point. So I'm going to get some bright red and just put my signature down in the corner here. I usually just sign them J. Gifford. And there we are. So brushes down, finished. So there we have the, just zoom out a bit, that's what I'm looking at, not too bad. So hopefully it people in America will relate to this kind of scene of the Bardens in your part of the world. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.